unlike fractions. Steps for adding and subtracting unlike fractions. Step 1, you're going to find the LCM of the denominators of all the fractions. This number is going to become the LCD. So you're going to follow the steps for finding the LCM, which is the least common multiple, and that basically is the same thing as the least common denominator. And then in step 2, you're going to write each fraction as an equivalent fraction whose denominator is the LCD. Step 2 is the most important step. And once we go through all of the steps, we have examples so we can see what step 2 is really telling us to do. Then in step 3, we're going to add or subtract alike fractions. Remember how you add and subtract fractions? Add the tops together and then keep the bottom the same. So A over C plus B over C. Keep the C in the bottom and then add the two top numbers together. And then step 4, you're going to write the sum or difference in simplest form. So here's our first example. It says 2 over 5 plus 8 over 15. So step 1 was to find the LCD, which is the least common denominator. To do that, we're going to write down both denominators. So we have 5 and then as well as 15. And then you're going to find the prime factorization of both. So 5 is broken down into 1 times 5, and 15 is 3 times 5. So then the LCD would be 1 times 5 times 3, which is 15. Now step 2 says that the denominators have to become the LCD. So the LCD is 15. Right now the first denominator is a 5. So what can we multiply the 5 by in order to make it a 15? And that would be 3, which means we also are going to multiply the top by 3. So if you multiply the bottom by a number, you must also multiply the top by the same number. For the second denominator, it's already 15, so I can think of it like multiplying by 1. I don't have to make a change. So now let's multiply this out. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. So 2 over 5 is equivalent to saying 6 over 15 plus 8 over 15. Remember how we add fractions? Keep the bottom number, so keep the 15. Add the top numbers together. So 6 plus 8 is 14. And our answer is 14 over 15. Now we have 2/3 plus an 1/8. So remember, step 1 is to find the LCD. To do that, write down the denominators. And then write the prime factorization. So 1 times 3. And then 8 is broken down as 2 times 2 times 2. So the LCD would be 1 times 3, the factors of the first, times any factors in the second not already in the list. So that will be 2 times 2 times 2. Multiply them together, and we end up with 24. So the LCD is 24. Now step 2 says that we need our denominators to become the LCD. So what can we multiply 3 by in order to make it into 24? And it would be 8, which means we're also going to multiply the top number by 8. What can we multiply 8 by so it becomes 24? It will be 3, which means we also multiply the top number by 3. Whatever you do in the bottom, you have to do in the top. So 8 times 2 is 16 over 8 times 3, which is 24, plus 1 times 3, which is 3, over 8 times 3, which is 24. The bottom numbers are exactly the same, so keep the bottom numbers. And then 16 plus 3, which is 19. So it's 19/24. Now we're subtracting, so we have 10 over 11 minus 2/3. So again, let's find the LCD. Start by finding the LCD by writing down each denominator, and then writing the prime factorization. So 11 is the same as saying 1 times 11, and 3 is the same as saying 1 times 3. Then the LCD would be 1 times 11 times 3. And it will become 33. So now the second step is to turn our denominators into the LCD. So what can we multiply 33 by in order to make it, what can we multiply 11 by in order to make it 33? And that'll be 3, which means you're going to multiply the 10 also by 3. And then for the second fraction, what can we multiply 3 by to make it 33? Well, it will be 11, which means multiply the top number, 2, by 11 as well. So this will become 30 over 33 minus 22 over 33. We're subtracting fractions, so remember, keep the bottom number. And then 30 minus 22, which is 8. So it's 8 over 33. Now we can also compare fractions. So if we have two fractions, such as 3/8 and 14 over 40, and we wanted to compare them, the first thing we need to do is have a common denominator. And that would be the LCD. So start by writing the denominators for each fraction, so 40 as well as 8. And then write out the prime factorization of both. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. And 40 is going to become 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. So then the LCD is going to be the factors of the first, so 2 times 2 times 2, times the factors of the seconds that are not already in the list, so 5. So the LCD is just 40. So now we need to have each denominator be 40. So what can we multiply 8 by in order to make it 40? It's going to be 5, which means we're going to multiply the 3 also by 5. The second fraction already has 40 in the denominator, so we don't have to change that. And now we end up with 15 over 40, and with space, 14 over 40. So then now you're going to compare your fractions. So all you have to do is compare the numerators, which is just the top number. So 15 is greater than 14, therefore 15 over 40 is greater than 14 over 40. Here's another example. It says negative 2 over 7 and negative 1/3. So the first thing we need to do is find the LCD and rewrite each fraction. So our denominators are 7 and 3. The prime factorizations will be 1 times 7 and 1 times 3. So then the LCD will be 1 times 7 times 3, which is 21. So now we're going to rewrite each fraction by changing the denominator and the numerator. We can multiply 7 in the first denominator by 3 in order to make it 21, which means we also multiply the top number by 3. Multiply 3 in the second denominator by 7, and then the top number also we multiply by 7. So this will become negative 6 over 21, and this will become negative 7 over 21. Once the bottom numbers are the same, remember we compare the numerators only. So negative 6 is what in comparison to negative 7? Negative 6 is greater than negative 7. Therefore, negative 6 over 21 is greater than negative 7 over 21. Okay, so now let's go in our books to page 228. And let's start by looking at number 11. So page 228, number 11. And it says 2 minus 5 over 12. So 2 minus 5/12. So remember, when you don't have a fraction and you have a whole number, they're always divided by 1. So 2 over 1 minus 5 over 12. In order to subtract these fractions, we need to have the same denominator. Therefore, we're going to find the LCD. Now, because our denominators are 1 and 12, the LCD is just going to be 12. So multiply the first fraction by 12, top and bottom. And then the second, we multiply by 1 because we're not changing anything. So now this is going to become 24 over 12 minus 5 over 12. Keep the bottom numbers the same, so it's 12 on the bottom. And then subtract the top numbers. 24 minus 5 is 19. So the answer is 19 over 12, or 19/12. Now let's look at number 39. It says negative 2/5 plus a third minus 3/10. So the first step is to find the LCD. So we're going to write down the denominator. So we have 5, 3, as well as 10. Write the prime factorization for all. So we have 1 times 5, 1 times 3, and then 2 times 5. Then the LCD is going to be the factors of the first, so 1 times 5, times any factors from the second not already in the list, so 3, times any factors from the third not already in the list, which is 2. So the LCD is 5 times 3 times 2, which is 30. So now we need to make all the denominators 30. So 5 times 6 will make that 30, which means we also multiply the number up top by 6. 3 times 10, so we're going to do 10 times 1. And then 10 times 3, and then do 3 times 3. So you end up with negative 12 over 30 plus 10 over 30 minus 9 over 30. Keep the bottom number the same, so there's your 30. And now negative 12 plus 10, we'll start there. Negative 12 plus 10. So that's going to become negative 2. So now we have negative 2 minus 9. Negative 2 minus 9 is the same as saying negative 2 plus negative 9, which is negative 11 over 30. Okay, so this will conclude our video for 3.5. Please email me if you have any questions.